I'm here to talk about why I love Israel. So, why I love Israel. I love the very moment my trip to Israel begins at Kennedy Airport. You walk into the El Al terminal and suddenly you are surrounded by a mass of incredibly beautiful Israeli security personnel who seem to be more competent than you've ever been in anything in your life. And you instantly feel way safer on this flight than on any American airline you've ever been on. And it's almost like you are about to board Air Force One until you do board, and it's hot and it's crowded and people are already, the Jews, yelling or pretending to save seats so they can take the whole row to lie down in. And you have this much leg room. I love how, in order to get to the bathroom, you have to fight a soccer team's worth of chatzits praying without touching them. I love how your dinner is kosher, brown, and even though you don't keep kosher, inexplicably endearing. I love how as the plane lands in Israel, they play Hatikva, and how the old people look out the window and cry, and some of the young people do too. And then there you are, finally in the Holy Land. You walk out of Ben Gurion, and there's that magical Israeli energy in the air, like it always is, intense and hyper and endearing and passionate. Everything's rushing, everyone's hugging and fighting each other to carry each other's bags. Always such a sense of urgency. Handsome young soldiers, women and men are everywhere, standing with M16s around their necks, scanning the crowds. I love how when you get to your friend's car, or your cousin's car, or your driver's car, 50-50, they've parked their tiny, messy cars like this, half on the curb and half on the street. I don't really love how the moment you get in the car, no matter who is driving and how much they value your life or theirs, you still have to hold on for life and pray, because you'll be doing 80 all the way and all the time, and so will everybody else. I love how in the movie theater, if the volume isn't up enough, people just yell. They say, in Hebrew, I don't know what it is, but turn it up, or it's hot in here. I love the insanity, but not really the reality of how on the streets of Tel Aviv, people never, ever clean up after their dogs. People will be yelling at each other to do it, and they'll just ignore each other and walk on. When I used to visit with my 90-year-old grandmother, who left Hungary as a teenager to help build Israel, I loved how everywhere we'd go, everyone, from soldiers to mothers to waitresses, would call her Savta, and they would say goodbye to her by saying, Ad 120, that you should live to 120, and then she'd inevitably say, Oy, don't curse me. I love how within 5 minutes into any cab ride, my mom and the taxi driver would be yelling at each other in Hebrew about politics, and how the other doesn't know what the hell they're talking about, and no one in the Likud or Knesset knows what they're doing, and how one would get out to leave, 50-50, in parting, they'd hug. I love how everyone says goodbye to each other by saying, Tihi Plea, go and be healthy. I love how no matter how many times my cousins call me, and I don't call them back because I'm just too busy, they're never mad. There is no such thing as standing on ceremony in Israel. There's just no time for that. Stop apologizing, they say. We love you, we miss you, how are you? How is your remodel? I love how beautiful the women are, and the men, and I love how there is no mincing words when it comes to the two sexes. I love the time I sat in Dizengoff Square, and this guy started talking and talking to me, till finally I mentioned I had a boyfriend in America, and he just said, so what? He's not here. I love how the beaches of Tel Aviv are like giant living rooms where families and couples and old people and little kids are from early morning to late at night, running, sitting, resting, writing, eating, sleeping, having bonfires, family parties, and playing mock code. I love how two of the most common phrases you will hear on the streets are, En baya, which means no problem, or if they're talking to you, they'll say, no problem, about everything, or Hishtagat, which means, are you nuts? I love how our family there is always ready to drop everything for us and take us on any nisiyah of our choosing, no matter how many times they've done it for the rest of the family. For however long we want, 2 days or 10, 3 people or 15, and it never feels like an imposition. And they'll pick us up from the airport and we can stay with them. I love how at parties, no matter what the background is, or the class of the people there, someone will put on Israeli music, and instantly, everyone will be dancing. I love how Israel is like what my mother would be like if she were a country. A former intelligence officer in the army and an Israeli through and through. She is beautiful and charismatic. Anyone who gets a taste of her always wants more, but she can be difficult. Stubborn, fierce, arrogant, and often sees things in black and white. She charms and offends left and right. She is impatient and extreme and has more integrity, strength, resilience, insight, wisdom, and perspective than most people who have lived 100 lives. She says what other people would only think. Her heart is a mile wide. She lives harder and softer and deeper than most people will. Like her country, she wants what we all want, to belong, to be peaceful, to be happy.